So, good morning. So, the first retreat that I ever did was a 3-month Vajrasattva retreat. It was in Kopan Monastery, Nepal, in the summer of 1974. And it was very difficult, very challenging. I had just been ordained maybe a month before. I was still very much a beginner. I had been learning Tibetan Buddhism less than a year at that point. And I had never done a retreat before. Get the picture? I was also very young, 22, very idealistic, but very eager to do everything perfectly. So just before the retreat, Lama Yeshe gave teachings on the practice of Vajrasattva. And I remember 3 things that stood out, 3 things that he emphasized. One was to have clear visualization of the deity and everything. Another, to have perfect concentration while reciting the mantra. And a third was feeling blissful. As the light and the nectar pour through your body, purify all these negativities. So I really tried my best, but I had difficulty with all 3 of these things. And it seemed that most of the time my mind was just all over the place, bombarded with unwanted thoughts, disturbing emotions. So I felt like a failure. And to make things worse, I imagined that everybody in the group, I was with a group of people, maybe 10, 12 people, that everybody else was meditating perfectly and experiencing these things. And I was the only one that was having problems. So I felt a lot of shame, and I didn't want to talk to anybody else about what was going on in my mind. So I suffered in silence. So since that time, I've done quite a few retreats and have learned a few things about how to manage the wild elephant mind and the disturbing emotions. So I had the idea to write a letter to my 22-year-old self who was doing that Vajrasattva retreat and offer a few tips. Dear 22-year-old Sangikadra, it's really wonderful that you are doing this retreat, and I can see that you are very sincere and very dedicated. You haven't missed a single session, even when you were sick with hepatitis. And you are trying really hard to do the practice well, as Lama Yeshe explained. But I can also see that you are struggling. So I would like to offer you some advice based on many more years of doing Tibetan Buddhist retreats with a crazy Western mind. So one important thing is to not beat yourself up when you have trouble concentrating or visualizing, when you have lots of thoughts and emotions. Beating yourself up doesn't help at all, and actually just makes things worse. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and compassion. After all, Buddhism says we should be kind to all sentient beings, and that includes you. You're a sentient being too. And if you can't be kind to yourself, how can you be kind to others? So instead of being hard on yourself, try to feel grateful that you are finally getting a good look at your mind and seeing what's there, what you need to work on. I know that can seem overwhelming, even shocking sometimes, but it's not really. Those thoughts and emotions are just momentary mental states, not permanent, solid things, not who you are. They are like clouds, very transitory. One moment they are there, but a while later they're gone. You can see that for yourself. And the pure, clear nature of the mind, which Lama Yeshe talks about again and again, is always there, just as the clear, cloudless sky is always there. So remember that, and don't take the thoughts and emotions so seriously. They will pass, and they are not who you are. You are much more than that. Also, there are remedies or antidotes you can use to deal with the negative emotions. Another thing is getting to know your own mind helps you to have compassion for others. You are definitely not the only person in the world who has those kind of thoughts and emotions. Everybody has them, even the people around you in this retreat. And just as you suffer from them, so do they. And unfortunately, most people haven't learned the Dharma, so they don't know how to manage their thoughts and emotions, how to transform their mind. So many times they freak out and get caught up in the stuff going on inside and even act it out, doing harmful things that just make more suffering for themselves and others. If you think about this, you can understand and feel strong compassion for them. And realize how fortunate you are that you now have a chance to work on your mind. And remember that this takes time. The mind has been in samsara from beginningless time, cultivating a lot of bad habits. So it can't be changed overnight, or even in 3 months, or even in a lifetime. But if you keep practicing, slowly, gradually, it will change. And remember, you are not alone. There are countless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with you, around you, all the time, looking at you with pure, unconditional love and compassion, and not the slightest bit of anger, aversion, or judgmentalness. No matter what you do, they will never give up on you. So try to love yourself in the same way. So keep these things in mind, reflect on them, try to practice them, and I will write again soon. Have a good retreat and lots of love. Older, wiser Sanghikata. So I wonder what the younger Sanghikata would have thought if she had received such a letter. She probably would have felt grateful, happy to read such nice words. But I'm not sure if she would have been able to put them into practice. It does take time to learn these things. Still, it's good to hear them. They do leave imprints on the mind that slowly ripen. So that's why I thought to share them with all of you who are doing retreat now, both here at the Abbey and outside, in the hope that they will be beneficial.